9.3 today, or sorry, yeah, 9.3 today. So these ones all work essentially the same way. And once again, you will absolutely need your calculator on here. Trying to do this without the calculator, forget it, ain't gonna happen. Nine three, we're finishing 9.3, the one we started last week. Okay, so to do this one, you need to find R. This is one that could be extremely difficult, but really it's not if you understand what you're doing on here. But your first thing you need to do is you need to find R, and we did finding R the other day. R is a root of the last term divided by the first term. So I'm going to have a root of 324 divided by 36. Now, in all of the problems we did before, we were trying to find the fourth root because we were looking for 3 missing spots. That isn't necessarily going to be how it is on this one. So what I want to know is, how do I get from a cubed to a to the fifth? How many steps is that? Well, that's easy to do. To find out the root, I take 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2, so I'm doing the square roots. And you get 3. So R is 3. Yeah, and then, well, you could. That's a good one. You could put it in here, but I'm going to tell you, to put it in the formula and to move over, really, it's really a complicated, nasty formula. You don't want to do that. The easier thing to do is to either move up or back by multiplying or dividing by 3, however many spaces we need. So, for example, I am given in this one a sub 5, 324. I'm looking for a sub 8. So here's a sub 6, a sub 7, a sub 8. I would take 324 times 3 times, because it's a whole heck of a lot easier than trying to figure out what the first term was and finding R. It's just, trust me, it's much easier to do. So you take 324 times 3 to get the next term, 972 times 3 to get the next term, 2916 times 3 to get the one we're looking for, 8748. That's my answer. It's just a lot easier. Figure out what R is, like what we were doing the other day, and then either multiply or divide depending on which direction you're moving. If you're moving forward, you multiply. If you're moving backwards, you divide by that number. You're only going to move 2 or 3 spots the most. I'm not going to ask you to find the 22nd term, because in geometric sequences, those get really outrageous very quickly. You're only going to move a couple of spots in either direction. This is what I'm going to have you do. Move a couple of spots in either direction. Okay, so let's go through doing this one here. Same idea. I'm looking for the first term, but I'm actually given the third term. So I need to find R, and then I need to go backwards, divide by 3 each time. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to the first term. I want to go backwards. I'm going to divide by 3 each time. Once again, to do this, I need to find R. So I'm going to take a root. And my root is going to be the last term, 3/32 divided by 3/2. And then what root am I going to take? 7 minus 3. I am going to take the fourth root on this one. Use the fraction key on this one. And in this case, r equals 1/2. So, if I multiply by 1/2 to move larger, I want to move smaller, which means I'm going to do what? Divide by 1/2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 2. So move it backwards. 3/2 times 2 gives me 3. That times 2 gives me 6. That's my answer. If I move backwards, I divide to move backwards. Multiply to move forwards, divide to move backwards. Figure out what r is, and then move either direction accordingly. So the next one, I'm looking to find the second term, and I'm given the fourth term. So here I need to find r. R equals a root of 1 over 108 divided by 3/4. And what root am I taking? 8 minus 4 is 4. Fourth root. Makes it easy. And then I'm getting r equals 1/3. So if I'm multiplying by 1/3 to move to the left, to move to the right, I'm dividing by 1/3, which is the same as multiplying times 3. So 3/4 times 3. It's 9/4. Multiply that times 3, and I get 27/4. Okay?
Wait, would that be the equivalent? Mine gave me a mixed number.
Yeah, your mixed number would be 6 3/4. You can change. You can go back and forth between the two. I prefer the improper for this. It's the fraction key, or actually in mine it's right next to the fraction key. On mine, but above the fraction key or right next to it, should be one that where it has mixed to, and you just hit that button, and it will change it from whatever it is to the other one. So you should give that a try and see what it does, and see if you can get 27/4.
I can't find where to do it.
That's okay. Okay. So this first one here, excuse me. You're going from a sub 1 to a sub 5. You're looking for a sub 4. So you could take a sub 1 and go up 3, or you could take a sub 5 and go down 1. I'd rather move 1 spot than move 3 spots. Okay? Still got to find r. R is the same way. R equals, to go from 1 to 4, 5 minus, or 1 to 5, that's the fourth root. 5 minus 1 is 4. Fourth root of 8/81 over 8. R gives you 1/3. So to move backwards, I divide by 1/3 or multiply by 3, and you get 8/27. Okay. This one you're given the first term and you're looking for the second term. So that's easy. Whatever r is, I just multiply times 5. To find R, I'm going from 1 to 4, so that's the cube root of 8.64 divided by 5. And once again, that's decimals. That makes it really nice. So I get 1.2 is my R. And no, that can't. I got exactly 1.2.
Okay, that's not how
No, you might have reversed the 4 and the 6 or something like that when you typed it in. Try it again. Try it again. Okay, so the question is, let me finish my final answer here on this one. So I end up getting 6 as my number. Okay, so the question is, how am I typing this into my calculator? I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm typing it in. I'm doing it all in one shot because I am smart and I know how to use parentheses. You guys should as well. So here's what I'm doing. I want the cube root of 8.64 divided by 5. So I type in 3, and then I do my cube root key, and then I hit parentheses, 8.64 divided by 5, end parentheses, and then on mine it's execute, but it could be equals or whatever. So that's exactly what I do. So yeah, I just cube root, fourth root, fifth root, whatever, and then I put in parentheses whatever I have in there. If it's a fraction, I'll do parentheses this divided by that one, end parentheses, and then it will do it for me. Yeah, you could divide first. Take 8.64, divide that by 5, and then take the cube root of whatever number you get from that. That works too. All depends upon what you want to type in and how you want to do it.
So,
this is exactly what I just did. Literally, that's exactly how I typed that one in. You could, yeah, you could take, and I've done this before on some of mine, 8.64 divided by 5, and that equals some number. And then what I've done is then my next step would be take the cube root. So I would type in 3, and then hit my root key, and then hit the answer key. If you look on your calculator, there's a little A and S. That's answer. What that does is take the number you got, your answer from the previous problem, and it plugs it in. So it took whatever I got from this, and it'll take the cube root of that, and then give me what my number is. You can always do that. I've done that myself. Okay. Now the last one, we're looking for a sub 2, and we're given a sub 4 is -3. So I need to move backwards 2 spots. I need to find R again. 7 minus 4 is 3, so once again I'm doing the cube root of 24 divided by -3. And you will get -2. You do have to watch your negatives. Make sure your negatives are in there, because it will come up -2. This one is important. Okay? Because 24 divided by -3 is -8. Cube root of that is -2. Move backwards. So instead of multiplying by -2, I'm going to divide by -2 to move this direction. Actually, let's do it again. Divide by -2. So -3 divided by -2 is +3/2. Divide by -2 again, and I get -3/4. Okay. Yeah, 3/2, because you're dividing by 2 instead of multiplying by -2. And the signs do change. If you have negatives in there, make sure you include your negatives in your work. It is important that you do that. Okay. And the key to these is finding R, which was the things that we did on finding the geometric means. Found R and then went from there. We already did those. Now we're going to this one. Okay. Find R. Go ahead and do the first example problem there. And although because we have done this several times, and you should I believe, get -2 for that. It's the fifth root, so you can take the fifth root of an odd root of a negative number. That's okay. You will get -2. This next one is a pain. You got -2 for that. This next one is a pain, to put it nicely. This is the hard problem of this section. Some are easy. This is the very hard problem of this section. Okay? So which term in the sequence is -1/9? So what we're looking for is, we're looking for n in this formula. That's what we're looking for. Okay, and there are a few ways to do this, and I will show you the ways to do this. Okay. What do I need for the rest of the formula? I need a sub 1, which is -81, because that's the first term. I need R. To find R, I pick a number divided by the 1 in front. 27 divided by -81 gives me -1/3, so R is -1/3. And I need the nth term. I need the last term. I'm looking for what that subscript is. I'm looking for what term number is -1/9. A sub n is -1/9. We just don't know where it falls in the sequence. It's a number in the sequence. We're trying to figure out where it falls. N will tell me where it falls in the sequence. Plug the ones we know into our geometric sequence formula. So the nth term, -1/9 is equal to a sub 1, -81, times R, -1/3, to the n minus 1 power. This is a pain, to put it nicely. Okay. There are two ways to do this, but your first step is exactly the same in both of them. Your first step, get rid of the -81. You want R to the power by itself. So my first step is to divide both sides by -81. And you get 1 over 729. From here, there are two ways to do this problem. The first way is using logarithms. Who wants to use logarithms? For those of you listening at home but not seeing the classroom, no hands went up whatsoever, including mine. I don't want to use logarithms either. There is another way to do this, and it's using logic and reasoning in your calculator. Here's the thing. I need to write 729 as 1/3 to some power. That's what I want to do. I want to write 729 as 1/3 to some power. Well, 1 is 1 to any power. It doesn't matter. It's getting this 3. 729 is 3 to what power? 3 and just use your calculator and guess and check. Now, I know that 9 is 3 squared. 81 is 3 to the 4th. So I'm guessing 3 to the 6th will give me my 729. So I'm going to try 3 to the 6th power. And guess what? 3 to the 6th power is 729. So 1/3 to the 6th power is 729. Equals negative 1/3 to the n minus 1 power. You don't have to worry about the negatives. They will take care of themselves at this point. I essentially have the same base. So that means 6 equals n minus 1. So that means that n equals 7. Add 1 to both sides. So you want to get the same base, which is another thing from the same chapter of the logarithms, but a whole lot easier than using logarithms. Get them to be the same base. Do the same base thing. Same chapter, same stuff, but a lot easier than actually taking the log of both sides. Your turn. Do those two. The top one should be easy. The bottom one, not as much. Okay, so the first one, r equals the cube root of 80 divided by 54. Cube root, because we're going from 1 to 4, that's 3 spaces. This one, which term in the sequence? My first term is negative 1 over 125. R is negative 5. Is that a reduce the power by 5? If you're not sure, take 125, take 25, 1 over 25, divide it by 1 over 125, and you end up getting negative 5. A sub n is 625. N is what we're looking for. So once again, plug everything in. Negative 1 over 125 is equal to 625 times 5 to the n minus 1 power. Sorry, negative 5. So divide both sides by negative 6. Divide both sides by 625. So 1/25 divided by 625, and you end up getting woof. I did that backwards. My bad. My bad. I knew something was wrong.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah. No. I'm looking at them going, that can't be right. That can't be right. 1 over 125 goes here, and the 625 goes there. Oh, man. Thank you. No, I'm looking at them going, holy crap. So 625 times 125 equals 78125. 78125 is equal to negative 5 to the n minus 1. Yeah, I almost screwed that one up. N minus 1. And this is also a negative 2. But, so I can kind of ignore the negatives on this. I'm okay as far as that goes. 5 to what power gives me 78125? Well, third power here for 125. This one I believe is the fourth power, so I'm guessing it's the 7th power. I don't know. So I take 5 to the 7th power. Woo! I got it right. I got it right. And I was literally guessing, but I was taking an educated guess. So I get negative 5 to the 7th power is equal to negative 5 to the n minus 1. So n equals 8, the 8th power. Question. So we're running short on time. I do want to finish this though. So I'm not going to work the examples. I'm going to work my examples. I'm not going to have you do the problems and then check them. They will be available online for you to check. However, So write the recursive formulas for the sequences. This one is actually easy. You need two things. You need the first term, and you need to know what your R is. Okay? So R is 3/2 divided by 3, which ends up giving 1/2. So I go and I use, this is the recursive formula. So my recursive formula is two parts. One, what is my first number? A sub 1 is 3. And how do I find the next number? A sub n equals R times n minus 1. Because what do? I'm going to multiply by R each time, right? Which means I'm multiplying by 1/2. So if I want to find a number, I take the one before it times 1/2. That's it. So on this one, R is a little harder to find on this one, but it's not bad. 1.8 divided by negative 3.6. Okay. Divided by, and you get 0.5, so it's negative 0.5. That's my R. So what's my first term? A sub 1, negative 3.6. How do I find the next term? I multiply times negative 0.5. So A sub n equals negative 0.5 times A sub n minus 1. That's the next term. Okay? So same thing on the last one here. But then we want to get to the explicit formula. R is the same. 1/2. R is, so I skipped to the same thing, only this one's explicit. It's the same sequences, which actually makes it easy. So, are you with me in your notes? You're on the right page. Okay, write the explicit formula. Well, the explicit formula is this formula here. Plug in the first term, plug in R, the rest of it stays the same. You actually don't have to do any simplification like we did with writing the explicit for the arithmetic. Just plug in the first term, plug in R. A sub n is equal to A sub 1, 3, times R, 1/2, put it in parentheses, to the n minus 1 power. Ta-da!
Bam.
Really, it's that easy. Second one, same thing. A sub n is equal to my first term, negative 3.6 times R, negative 0.5, to the n minus 1 power. Ta-da! Easy peasy. Yeah. It wasn't worth that much. All right. We are almost out of time.